What's going on, guys? It's PapafishTwenty and welcome to episode 2 of Is It Worth It? The previous episode was on the MTAR-X with rapid fire and grip. If you've not seen that, then the link will be down in the description below, but this week we'll be looking at the free burst attachment on Marksman rifles. Marksman rifles are notorious for their semi-automatic firing, high bullet damage and extensive range. This is shown with the ability to never need more than 3 shots to kill at any range unless through materials. On top of that, they offer some high levels of one-shot kill headshots out of substantial range, but with such firepower you are going to encounter recoil to counter them being somewhat overpowered. Hipfire spread is also poor compared to other weapon tiers. The free burst attachment does exactly what it says. It adds a free burst mode to the weapon. When Ghost was first released, free burst on the Marksman rifles was overpowered, especially on the IA2, which became the pre-patched MSBS but with insane range. Infinity Ward saw this and gave the free burst attachment a nerf when added to the Marksman rifles. This nerf increased the recoil, reduced body damage multipliers and accuracy. Each Marksman rifle has different rates of fire within the burst. This is the rate of fire within the 3 shots each time you pull the trigger. These are higher than the standard fire rates given to the Marksman rifles. The MR28 is 600 rounds per minute as standard and 750 rounds per minute within the burst. IA2 is 545 as standard and 681 within the burst. The MK14 EBR is 480 as standard and 600 within the burst. And finally the SVU is 400 rounds per minute as standard and 500 within the burst. I also did recoil testing prior to using these weapons. Based on the testing, I was able to gain thoughts of how I felt each weapon would perform. Strangely though, recoil testing results did not actually transcend to gameplay with the weapons. Initially I felt the MR28 and IA2 would exceed expectations, but they actually failed miserably. The MK14 EBR and SVU performed way above what I thought they would. The fire rate on the SVU does lack, so time to kill is worse than the MK, but its recoil helped to ensure kills when tackling enemies straight on. The MK14 on the other hand gave me a slight bit of trouble with some elements of the recoil being completely random. The gun will kick a massive amount in any direction on the second bullet of the burst. In some of the clips on screen you can see that I had to predict when and where the recoil would go and strafe to counter it. Now I used the free burst attachment on all Marksman rifles and found it worked best with the MK14 and the SVU. The MR28, even with the built-in foregrip, still had a lot of recoil and it seemed to need at least 2 to 4 and in some cases 5 bursts on an enemy to land sufficient damage to kill. In rare cases 1 burst was enough, but only in close quarters combat. I did try many different optical sights on the IA2 and nothing really seemed to help with the accuracy. The SVU and the MK14 overall were the better choices for this attachment. Coincidentally, these are the 2 slowest firing Marksman rifles. So now the question is it worth using free burst on the Marksman rifles? My answer is yes, but only on the SVU or the MK14. The slower rates of fire help to stay accurate, but comes at a cost of a slower time to kill. The MR28 and IA2 have relatively high semi-automatic firing rates, so I would recommend using them as standard. If you have a good trigger finger like myself, then you'll feel that the IA2 and MR28 are better off without the free burst attachment. Now we've come to the end of this episode and I've put up on screen a recommended class. As always, you don't have to use this exactly, as it is my own personal opinion. The next video will be on the slugs attachment for shotguns. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and maybe a comment with your thoughts. If you haven't already, then please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.